What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
Good evening, everybody. It's No Mercy time here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Corner to Corner is live early tonight. Was going to be a lot earlier. Sorry about that. Totally my fault. Had to break a few traffic laws, you know. You know. I mean, you got to do what you got to do for the business. The business. You know what I'm saying? It's myself, Stan Grubb, and of course my tag team partner tonight is the one and only Doctor of Desire himself, Brian Taylor. What's up?
What's going on?
And we are live on Corner to Corner. Rob is held up by Hurricane Matthew.
Down in North Kakalaki.
Do me a favor. Let me cut in for a second. And I wanted to ask before we went live, and I didn't get a chance to because we were all drawn up in the triple threat match. How are things up in y'all's neck of the woods? Now, I don't know geographically how far you are from the coastal regions and how far you in, but I do want to ask, how is everything up there?
Today for us, it was sunny and beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, in central Virginia, it's pretty much windy and rain here and there, but today was clear. A lot of wind, though. In the coastal areas down at Virginia Beach, as I'm aware of it, as of about 2 o'clock this afternoon, I saw some friends on Twitter and on Facebook saying that it was rainy and windy, but it wasn't too bad. Yeah. North Carolina, on the other hand, earlier today was getting pelted, and that was over in Nags Head. That's where Rob's at this evening. And the back road to get out of Nags Head was flooded. It was completely flooded out. So I'm not sure what the plan was there. We'll have to grill Rob and give him a hard time next Sunday. Hey, there's a hurricane coming. Cool, let's go to the beach. But
that'd be me.
Vacation, right? I mean, if you got a vacation, you got to take it. Although I think I would have just, found another way. Either way, last we heard, he's okay. He and his family are fine. There's just a lot of water, a lot of wind. I've seen a lot of downed trees on my way here to Culpeper this evening. But aside from that, Hurricane Matthew really seemed more like just a gust of wind.
Here, anyway.
Yeah, well, here.
Yeah.
But, in Florida and South Carolina, North Carolina. And unfortunately, what it did to Haiti was just devastating. If you get an opportunity, if you're able to do so, I'm sure the donations for, I believe it's Red Cross is handling it, for the disaster relief, certainly lend your support there because they definitely need it. They got pounded. Mud everywhere. I've never seen anything quite like that before. And then, of course, on the professional end, I did have a whole lot of phone calls over the weekend about different types of claims and everything. This is a situation not to cross the streams, to quote Eddie, but this is a situation where if you have an opportunity to review the kind of protection you have on your property, this is the situation where you want to make sure you've got the right stuff and make sure you know what you have, because if you don't have it and you think you do, this is not the time to have that rude awakening, especially if you're protecting your family and your property. So,
agreed. Because I've actually had to deal with a circumstance where a certain insurance company did not classify a flood as an act of God. They would classify a tornado as an act of God, but they would not classify the flood itself as an act of God.
Well, without getting too far into the contract part of that, I can tell you that unless you have a flood policy, you won't have coverage on your insurance.
Right.
And that's just, it's unfortunate, but it's regulated by FEMA. That's the reasoning for that. If you ever have questions, I can always try to answer my best I can off the air. No mercy.
No secrets. We're not giving away insurance secrets.
Right. No trade secrets here. It's not
Unless
like
you
any
pay
of that.
for it. We go for
I mean, hey, I do have an hourly rate, a wage. I got bills to pay, kids to feed.
So when you get your regular homeowners
above
policy,
ground pulling a double wide. I mean, that's what I need.
when you get your homeowners policy, make sure it's got a flood insurance rider on it. That's the easy way to say it.
Yeah, make sure you've got the appropriate cover. Every time Nikki Bella does that, it's like an angel gets its wings. I'm just saying. Beautiful. Anyway, No Mercy is live tonight, so are we. Opening up No Mercy tonight was the main event.
For the first time.
And I don't think that's ever happened.
Nope. Even WWE said it's the first time.
John Cena, Dean Ambrose, and the World Heavyweight Champion himself, AJ Styles, and a tremendous, some would say, phenomenal.
That kid.
Oh, that's a mini belt right there. That's a mini fan for a mini belt. But so the triple threat match with Cena, Ambrose, and AJ Styles was actually very good. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Just trying to listen to it on my way here, and then of course as I got here at the latter moments of the match. Brian, what did you think of the ending of that? AJ Styles retaining in a pretty, I wouldn't say convincing fashion, but true to form for his recent wins.
Yeah, you got to do what it takes. They never should have put that a triple threat anyway. It is my opinion. Ambrose got his rematch last week. He lost.
Should have been. It should have been
just him and Cena. I'm not a big fan, just like Rob's not, of these triple threats, and
they're a little overdone. I think that they think it's more of a draw for the box office, and maybe it is. I mean, you got more names in a match, but for me, I'd rather see them one-on-one and see the other competitor move on, or just have a filler feud until he gets back in the picture.
Well, I mean, take tonight, for instance. When they first all three got in the ring, there was a chant for Cena.
Right, a chant
for AJ.
But nothing for Ambrose.
Nothing for Ambrose, which means he shouldn't have been in there.
And the thing is, though, with the crowd, they reacted when Ambrose music hit. They reacted when he came out. There's just no, let's go Ambrose.
Right. Yeah, once Cena got out there, it quickly became, Cena and then AJ. AJ right. got a bigger pop than Cena. And, again, no offense to Ambrose, this shouldn't have been a...
He's really the odd man out for WWE right now. I mean, he's earned his stripes. I think he's a good champion, but he is the odd man out. When you're in the ring against AJ Styles and John Cena, that's a tough spotlight to really stand in. Now, the matchup right now is Carmella versus Nikki Bella. I didn't mean for that to rhyme. It just happened that way.
A little paintbrush action.
Carmella is... I think she's a little confused. As a bad guy, you're not really supposed to keep the entrance that you had when you were a good guy. So the dancing and the fabulous music and all that, I mean, everybody seems to change it up when they turn. Natalya changed it up a little bit.
No, wait.
Did she?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I just had an epiphany.
An epiphany?
Right.
Magic
so
moment.
on the pre-show,
right,
Alexa Bliss was given the unfortunate news that Becky Lynch was not there
to defend the title.
Right. However, they did say it's not due to in-ring. So it's something that occurred outside the ring. They also announced the rematch in November, where she'll get the shot in November. But she's got a mystery opponent.
Oscar's gonna kill you.
But
it's either
that or the lady in red.
Red everything.
Well, I think she's all black everything now.
Oh yeah, she's colored her hair again.
So maybe she'll try and be a good guy.
Well, her suspension's up.
Yeah, so that's what I just,
oh my gosh, that would be awful.
I mean, you're just talking about ring entrances. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I might laugh at that. I don't know how good it would be, but Alexa Bliss, for my money, I think Alexa Bliss is a talented performer. I hope that whatever's going on with Becky Lynch isn't too serious.
Well, again, the November 8th, I think, is the match. in Scotland.
Oh, that's the SmackDown in Scotland. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad. A live title match there on TV. I like that.
Yeah, so it's hard to say. There could be a suspension they're trying to cover up.
Right.
She could have been in an accident. It's just funny that they have a return date, and they've already announced it. So,
all right, pick a winner here. Carmella, Nikki Bella. Nikki.
Yeah.
So Nikki finally beats Carmella.
Yeah.
Because Carmella has actually beaten her multiple times.
Right.
Count out, pinfall, even a disqualification, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was a submission. She made Nikki Bella tap out. That's right. To the.
Well, she might make her tap out again if she don't get off the hair.
You got to keep your pants on, Carmella. You're not pulling them down. It's not that kind of match. They don't do that anymore.
The moonwalk.
Jeez.
All right, so while we have a minute.
What?
I think we should cover Richmond real quick.
Richmond was great, man. NXT live in Richmond, Virginia at the
Altair.
It was a great night for wrestling action. We had a chance to introduce the wrestling world to, I think, the next ladies tag team champions, the Two Glorious themselves. Our daughters were able to accompany us, and really Austin Aries sporting the shirt this evening, might I add. And Cedric Alexander, I think, had the match of the night. Cedric Alexander, I can't believe we're so late to the party on this guy, because the Indies, all they ever heard about with Cedric and Ring of Honor, if you remember, was Cedric Alexander, just how good this guy was.
Well, I saw him in Ring of Honor.
Right.
So I had, I knew a little bit going in, but I mean, I would have thought there would have been like a little learning curve.
Yeah.
To this guy coming into.
No, he's ready. He is ready. He reminds me a lot with how fast he's taken to it. You look at AJ Styles, there really wasn't a learning curve for him. Mm-hmm. There's very few guys that have come in and been able to just pick up on it so quickly.
Now, I did see that Cedric faced Bobby Roode Saturday night, and that match supposedly tore the house down.
Bobby Roode and Cedric Alexandria in Baltimore?
So another Cedric match.
Golly day. I tell you what, we were talking about it on the way back from Richmond. We were talking about how WWE can set up their next set of call-ups. And the thing is, you have so many guys on the NXT roster right now that are ready, more than ready, really, probably late to get called up. But you're going to call up Samoa Joe. You know that's coming soon. With him not carrying the title, you figure he's going to lose his next match to Nakamura, and that'll be, okay, Joe, time for you to go up. Mm-hmm. Then if you're going to really look at it, you've got Austin Aries, Nakamura, Bobby Roode, of course. They are ready for the call-up. If you call up even one of them, though, now you've got a huge gap. Because once Samoa Joe is gone, and once any one of those guys is gone, you're really going to have to work hard to fill in that gap. It's not to say that NXT can't, because there's one thing that we've seen them prove time and time again. It's that they've got huge, huge pockets, and they're able to pull out talent. I mean, Eric Young, who I'm not sure how many fans are up to date on tapings and spoilers, but I don't want to go too far with that. But Eric Young is still in their pocket. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we've got, unless they really get out there and go after, we've talked about it before, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I know Eddie's favorite tag team would love to be in NXT. I don't know that they can call up any more than maybe one at a time. Samoa Joe, another 4 months goes by, maybe one other guy. One at a time, because they have to keep it backfilling.
To me, that's what we said when they called up the last group.
That's true. And TakeOver in Brooklyn, TakeOver 2 was phenomenal.
See, what we all have to understand is NXT is not Ohio Valley.
Right. Very true.
It's not, Florida. What was it?
Look at this. That move is sick. I mean, good. Look, that's a lot of strength for Nikki Bella. Oh, this is going to hurt. I thought she was going to do a spine buster. Carmella's lights just got dimmed.
NXT is no longer,
they're not a proven
ground.
No.
They are the hottest thing out there, and I think anybody will decide to go to NXT
and wants to be there. Yeah,
right.
Wow, is she gonna make Nikki Bella tap out again?
I don't see how she can't. That is nasty.
That hold is fierce, man.
She's got it cinched in.
Flawless. She got to the rope. Dude, that takes grit. You're getting choked and squeezed. You got your head getting ready to pop like a pimple, and you're getting choked. The bad neck that she has, the surgically repaired neck. Yeah.
But, I mean, think about it. You still would have some of these talents from TNA that might be deciding to get out of Dodge.
You mean Billy Corgan's unnamed promotion?
I mean, you still have Roderick Strong.
Yep.
Roddy out there. I'm sure there's all types of indies.
I mean, I think we've got TKO from Nikki Bella. I think there's a good number of talents out there. Wow, Nikki finally gets the payoff. I mean, I'm not upset by it. I would have been okay with Carmella winning because it would have been sticking with the win streak, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, I think this will keep pushing Nikki towards the top.
Towards the title.
Yeah. Just as a standby, if nothing else.
And again, I mean, Nikki, between the two Bellas, Nikki was definitely the more accomplished and more polished. And it probably helps that John Cena is in her corner.
Well, the other difference is now is she's actually wrestling a little bit.
And wrestling better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but getting back to next.
Whoa, the creepy people actually were moving. Like they were clapping.
No, yeah, but we got to get away from the creepy people. We got to call them. We got to come up with a name for them.
Those who shall not be named?
No, that's some other guy.
Oh, yeah. That's that Canadian guy. Yeah. Can't do that.
But, NXT, they had some, I think all around the matches were decent. The crowd was into it.
Asuka and Aaliyah. We were talking about that. Aaliyah, who really impressed with her match with Asuka. Now, granted, Aaliyah she's maybe 20 now. I mean, she was 19 in Breaking Ground. So she's got so much time left to really learn and hone her craft. But her matchup with Asuka was good. Right now, we got The Miz and Maurice talking with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. Yeah. Miz is just talking, blah, blah. Still talking.
Look, even Maurice is like, would you shut up?
She's like, okay, let's just go. Come on, Miz.
So, should we break some TNA news? Should we give some spoilers? I think we give spoilers.
They've already spoiled it, so I don't know if it's really a spoiler anymore. The big news coming out of TNA's most recent tapings is we have a new World Heavyweight Champion.
In Eddie Edwards.
And just this one I just heard about today, TNA's Grand Championship changed hands as well.
To everybody's favorite, Moose.
I mean, I wish I could have a football team escort me out to the ring.
Yeah.
Eddie, I have to agree, Maurice looks like a fusion between a drum major and a Vegas stripper. Yeah, that's pretty true. When does she get in the ring? That's what I want to know.
I don't know if she will, maybe.
She get roughed up, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, already they're changing TNA.
Yeah, I mean, there's the rumors right now. The rumor mill has never buzzed so loud as it is right now for TNA and what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And, you have to pay attention to it because what we're learning is where there's smoke, there's fire. TNA, of course, has been attempting to sell to various investors, whether it was Dixie Carter getting help, whether it was Billy Corgan taking over, or Aerolux, which is owned by the Harris brothers and have loose ties to Jeff Jarrett. Nobody has really known what was going to happen with that. And then about a week and a half ago, the news became real thick as WWE has placed a bid for the tape library.
Mm-hmm.
So WWE yet again is stepping in and saying, hey, look, we don't want to run your company, but if it's truly going to close the doors, better to have the legacy protected and aired than to go into some deep, dark storage bin that never sees the light of day.
Now, here's what's interesting. Because they're, like, the WWE has sent out these questionnaires.
Yeah, they have. That's
and
another part.
One of the questions was, would people still pay, or how much money would people pay to see other promotions?
Other content, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
and they list TNA and Ring of Honor.
Now, Ring of Honor and WWE have had a partnership for years now, and it's no secret that they don't have any trouble working together. As a matter of fact, they're comfortable doing it. They've been doing it for a while. With TNA, though, again, I hate to keep saying the same statement, but where there's smoke, there's fire, because now WWE is putting TNA's name out there, and they never do that. Let me say that again. They never do that. Mm-hmm. They have, Sting, when he came to WWE, if you're counting title reigns, counting Sting's title reigns in TNA, he's in that race. But they didn't. They ignored that. The only time we've heard TNA mentioned was on the Stone Cold podcast, and also recently on Talking Smack, where they're talking about AJ Styles and his accomplishments. But even then, it's very slight. It's a quick mention, and they're done.
I mean, I don't think it's ever mentioned on NXT, where you have so many
right
TNA stars.
Now, right now, we've got the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Rhino and Heath Slater defending against the new duds wearing kind of guys, the Usos. They changed up their look. No more face paint, which, it's kind of cool. I'm good with that. I like the new look. Now, here's a question. After all the momentum built for Rhino and Heath Slater, is tonight the night they take the belts off? That's it.
I would say yes.
I have to say yes, too, because when they were in Birmingham a couple of weeks ago, Slater and Rhino wrestled theoretically on Main Event and not on the SmackDown television show. Why would you put your new tag team champions on Main Event and not let them appear on the main broadcast itself? Also,
yeah, I think this is just the written to get Slater back on, back on her contract, and
it's done. You got a contract. Now back to the back of the line.
Yeah.
Also, let me throw this one at you. Two things. Number one, Renaro during the triple threat match. I don't know if you caught the phrasing or not when he was referring to AJ Styles. he mentioned the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, and he also said, "quote unquote." Very decorated champion everywhere he's been.
Right, and that's what they usually do with him. So it's interesting because WWE they've made it their business really to not mention the competition.
Right.
Whether it was WCW back in the day, and back during the Attitude Era they did it, but they did it when they knew they were at war. Mm-hmm. Before then and after then, there was no need to. ECW, another good example. They had a partnership with them, but only mentioned them when they absolutely had to.
Well, even going back to Ric Flair, I don't think they ever called him the NWA champion.
No,
he was the world champion.
The real world champion.
Yeah.
Also, the other one real quick. If they do work the deal and TNA becomes part of the fold, and they recognize Sting's championships at TNA, Sting ties Flair.
See, that's what I was wondering. Does he tie Flair or does he break the record? Because he held that TNA title 4 or 5 times.
The only argument that you can say about tie is due to the fact that the WCW International Championship was not recognized as the WCW World title.
Right, because before that it was the NWA World title.
Well, it was NWA, then WCW.
Right. It was the NWA World title. Barry Windham won it. Mm-hmm. And then a few months down the line, it changed from the NWA World title to the International title. Mm-hmm. Rude won it from... Did he win it from Wyndham?
I think he did.
So,
and then, no, he won it from Flair. Rude won it from Flair.
No, I don't think...
No, Flair was still in WWE.
Title till later.
Oh, yeah, because he had it when Hogan came in. Mm-hmm. That's right, because Flair unified the titles. I remember that.
Now, I thought, though, at one time, and I don't know why, but I was pretty sure at one time, Flair was like the 18-time world champion.
Yeah.
Remember when he won the title in a battle royal? Remember, it was like towards the end of WCW. That would have been his 17th, if I remember it right. But, I mean, I've heard 18 as well. So you would have to go back into like a PWI Almanac or something and really chart it. But I'm pretty sure you're right. It might actually be 18. And maybe that's why now they're saying, sure, let's let John hit 16. Because I don't have a problem with John Cena breaking the record, much less meeting the record.
Yeah, again, I'm almost positive at one time he was the 18-time world champion.
I thought it was,
and I don't know what happened to the other two, but...
Well, once WCW and NWA finally cut ties, I know that a lot of the record books started getting adjusted. Because I remember as soon as Wyndham won the belt, there were so many angry fans because they just dropped the world title recognition from it. But, hey, we're right in the middle of the Tag Team Championship match right here on No Mercy. Corner to Corner is live. We're going to take our top-of-the-hour break. When we come back, we'll continue our simulcast of No Mercy. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Ooh. Hi, Cliff.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
What's up, everybody? It's Stan Grubb for Corner to Corner Wrestling Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Hey, join us every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as the triple threat of wrestling radio goes live every week, giving you their thoughts and opinions on the world of professional wrestling. Myself, Brian, and Rob, all live, all here for you. And as my good friend Rob would say, from corner to corner and pillar to post, we bring it to you every week at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net.
Welcome back, everybody, to Corner live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net, and as always, on the replay. And, of course, you can download us on demand through Spreaker.com and iTunes. And, of course, your other favorite podcast and internet radio applications, because God knows there's a ton of them. Been looking at some of our statistics recently, and I got to say a quick shout-out to New York City, to Calhoun, Georgia, just popping up in the demographic mix. I'm liking it, man. I like how we're expanding. I want to say hi to Sydney, Montana, even though the last time I said hi to them, they probably didn't like it too much. I still don't know a whole lot about Sydney, Montana, but...
you were supposed to do a book report.
I did, and here's what happened. I Googled Sydney, Montana. I did. I Googled Sydney, Montana, and the saddest part of it is...
You broke the internet.
It was a blank Wikipedia page. You got to help me out, Sydney.
Wow.
Also, hey,
Ooh.
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
Rusev is listening to us on his honeymoon. That's what I love to hear. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Rusev listening to us while they're celebrating their nuptials. I like to say that's a pretty good thing. All right, so we got the Usos and Rhino and Heath Slater for the tag team championships.
It's not a bad match.
No, this is really back and forth. I tell you what I've noticed with the Usos since they turned is the cutting off of the ring, making sure their opponent is in their corner at all times. That's not done enough in tag team wrestling anymore. So anytime we see something like that, it's a big wow! What a shot!
Well, I think personally, just based on their family history, is maybe somebody's helping them out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there's a certain viciousness that they haven't had in a while.
Yep,
and
that was awesome.
You know, again, the tag team runs in their family.
Yep, it certainly does.
2 other tag teams out there right now that are tied to them.
I have never seen a power slam off the top rope, much less a walk-up power slam. That was cool. Look at that. Very snug. Very nice. Bam!
Oh,
Turn out the lights.
That's a super
The party's over.
That was right on the
Let's
jaw.
go, Steve Carino. Super kick! Oh, no. Come on. Oh. It's like a reverse curb stomp or something. That's not cool. Tequila Sunrise.
Oh.
Gore! 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 Tap out, Heath.
What in the... That
looked
like a tap
I thought
out
he was
to
tapping
me.
there.
I mean, Baron
Hold his
Corbin
hand.
did much less than that and got tapped out.
Oh, that's a good way to tear an ACL right there. Golly day. The Usos don't need help with injuries, let me just point out. They've had their share. Both Jimmy and Jay have been on the shelf more than they've been in the ring. What if Rhino gores Heath Slater?
I was expecting that the first match.
That would be so funny.
But the problem is Heath Slater.
Oh!
Heath Slater against Rhino would not be great to watch.
No. Wow, and Heath Slater and Rhino live to fight another day.
Yeah.
Tag team champions still. Wow.
I don't know how that was a super. I think that super kick connected.
Yeah,
that was about the best one I've seen.
That was sweet chin music at its finest right there.
Yeah,
look at that gore. Ooh,
right on the button.
Why didn't we ever see Rhino and Monty Brown as a tag team? The Pounce and the Gore.
You
could have done that in stereo. It would have been beautiful.
Yeah, but who would you have to fight them
and lose? Oh, I don't know.
You see what?
They'd have destroyed everybody.
You just can't put together. You know?
I like those tag titles. I'm not a big fan of the ones on Raw with a copper look, but I like the blue and silver.
Yeah. All right, so for those who are wondering, we kept Stan from buying the NXT World Heavyweight title.
And it was there, and it looked awesome.
Awesome. It was monstrous.
It was huge.
Monstrous.
That belt, I think, may be bigger than the big gold.
Yes, I think so. The size of it.
Yeah.
TV doesn't do it justice.
No.
Seeing it up close.
And there was this little kid, and he's looking at it, and finally one of the merchandise guys notices him and yanks it off the table before the kid can pick it up. I mean, there's many people that was at that merch table, and first off, the location of this table was awful.
Yeah.
It's right next to the exits. If you wanted to make a mad dash, you could get and probably not get caught. Now, if you were caught within the next 3 blocks for the next few hours, it's probably your ass. But I mean, anyhow, I mean the merch people were really cool though. Bought my daughter a Bobby Roode Glorious T-shirt, which was neat. Which let me just point out, she's worn 3 times in the past 2 days. Her mother has had to wash it twice. And the NXT toy title that she got, which actually held up pretty well.
Well, I think what you ought to do is get some super glue and glue
those pegs.
In.
We did find the peg that had dropped out. It's missing one, so I guess we lost one at the arena. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun with watching that.
I'll bring you later.
The experience of watching Shinsuke Nakamura live was just amazing.
The energy.
Yeah, and it just, singing along with the theme music and all of that. And, when you're sitting at home, when you're watching on NXT or watching the TakeOver or whatever, you're like, that's cool, but you can't really imagine yourself doing that. But then you're in a live setting and you're swept up. I mean, you're just in the moment. It looks like we're building up to Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton here next. Bray Wyatt backstage doing his normal rocking chair bit. This is a must-win for Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to continue credibility-wise with Bray Wyatt, you have to give him a victory tonight. And, honestly, he wins tonight. The feud continues. Randy Orton and him go at Hell in the Cell.
So is that going to be a combined pay-per-view?
I think it is. Maybe I'm just not in the know enough. Maybe I finally lost my touch. I hope so.
Now, another cool thing NXT did was they had the match listing posters.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Posters.
That was really cool. I liked they had the match listing posters, but they also had the poster with autographs from everybody on the card, which was so cool. Brian, you got
I
the
walked
poster
away with
that.
one. Yeah, I couldn't pass that up. Yeah.
I was counting my money multiple times, trying, can I, can't I? Because I wanted that belt. But here's the thing, I'm not in my car right now. So, yeah. The belt has to wait because I need to be able to drive back and forth to work.
Yeah, so, Hunter, come back by.
Yeah.
A couple months.
Drop the price on the belt.
Wait till Christmas. After Christmas. After Christmas. They ain't going to drop that.
Come on, man.
So, but, yeah, I mean, it was cool. Just the match posters. God, it's been forever and a day since I've seen one of those.
It was a cool, and the quality of it was good.
It's nice stock paper.
Yeah, just a real, something that'll last. You can frame it. It's actually a real good keepsake, so I liked that.
And again, everybody signed it.
Yeah, from Asuka, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, Austin Aries, Cedric Alexander.
Joe, Blake.
Yep. The beautiful body Wesley Blake. So we've got, let me just make sure I got this right, Mr. Blake. We got the Heavenly Bodies, so that's Tom Pritchard you're ripping off. What else? Oh, Brian Kendrick with the leather jacket. The Feather Boa, so either Adrian Adonis or Jesse Ventura. That's 3 different gimmicks on one guy.
I think
and plus, don't hit him in the face, night, so that's Rick Martel.
Yeah.
Maybe time to go back to the drawing board on that. I don't know.
Now, what? I think the guy he was facing,
Ty Dillinger,
got the loudest pop outside of the main event,
and it lasted the entire match. Pretty much.
Everybody loves 10.
10. When Blake is on the top rope, kind of chastising the crowd, we're chanting "You're a zero." It was cool because WWE just knows how to put on a show.
Right.
NXT, WWE, whatever the case may be. And this one didn't fail. The only thing that was, I guess, a pro and con, because I enjoyed it, but the ring was set up so the arena we were at was actually a theater.
Right.
So the ring was set up on the stage, which is cool because it's a focal point. Nobody's distracted from the behind or left or right. It's right in front of you. Everybody's looking the same direction. The sound from the fans, if you're in the ring, my impression of that is that you're caught up in that because it's even louder. But as far as being able to interact with the wrestlers, it was limited, to say the least. There wasn't any real surprise run-in or anything that I can remember.
Well, I do know that Blake does not know his numbers. Blake, if you're listening or somebody's listening, please inform Blake that if you're going to put up the number 10, the 1 goes on your right hand and the 0 goes on your left.
Right, or he could just, and this might be hard because he's got to remember how many fingers he's got. Hold up 5 fingers on each hand.
Yeah.
That would equal 10 also.
Because you can't yell, I'm a 10, and then
a 0-1.
Put up 0-1.
So we got Baron Corbin and Jack Swagger. Now, if you remember this past Tuesday on SmackDown, Swagger made Baron Corbin submit. Now, this was, if I read it right, this was a botch because they were thinking that he submitted when he actually didn't.
Yeah, that was about the worst tap that I've ever seen. I don't know if you saw it, but I saw it.
I actually missed that part of SmackDown. I got back in late Tuesday night, so I watched bits and pieces.
Yeah, I mean his hand doesn't even like move up and down.
And they just say
it just like extending for the rope. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they say he taps. And one of the announcers is like, "Oh, he tapped." What's his name? Otunga, I think, is screaming he tapped. Layfield like, "Ah, you didn't tap. Are you crazy? You didn't tap." So
I mean, with matches like this, I don't know that there's really I don't really understand why there'd be room for controversy. You know, I mean, you don't need controversy. Corbin should just run through these guys, just like he did with that clothesline.
Well, but I think you want to build up Swagger as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't let Corbin just run through Swagger.
Well, it depends on what your good Lord, look at his back. It depends on what your future plans are for either guy. I mean, if you're looking to make Baron Corbin your next big thing, number one contender, then you absolutely have to have him. That is a mess. Ouch.
Scratch marks or something?
Big old print on Corbin's back, either from scratches or a chop that just went wrong. Man, oh man.
All right, so while we're at break, you were talking about Bret Hart.
Yeah, so if you're plugged in looking at Twitter or Facebook or any of your favorite wrestling sites, Bret Hart did an interview recently about the Fabulous Freebirds. Wasn't specifically the subject, but they asked him a question about his thoughts on the Freebirds. And he had a lot of derogatory things to say about them being in the Hall of Fame for WWE because his basic statement was that the Freebirds never drew a dime, never did anything worthwhile, and essentially were just flashes in the pan. They didn't really deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Oh! Baron Corbin trying to kill Jack Swagger, and Swagger is, ouch. That looked more like a shoulder block or pounce, sending Swagger face first, neck first almost, into that second turnbuckle. But anyhow, Bret Hart talking about the Freebirds and saying how they're just not Hall of Fame worthy. Michael Hayes did get a chance to respond where he stated that he respected Bret Hart and he appreciated everything he did in the ring, and he didn't necessarily have a problem with him stating that the Freebirds didn't do well in WWF because he was right on that. But he took umbrage, took offense to the fact that Bret would insult Buddy Roberts and Terry Gordy.
Well, here's my thing. When Vince made the decision to take over the world, and he bought up all these other promotions, and he bought up included the video rights and all that, he is now the caretaker
of that lineage, of
all of them. And I have said for a while that the WWE Hall of Fame should just be titled the Hall of Fame, and he owes it to these people who were competition or whatever at the time to give them an opportunity to go to the Hall of Fame. Because it's
physical location.
Yeah, it's not really a Hall of Fame if all you keep doing is putting in your people.
Right,
I mean,
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's like in a pro sport. Let's take the Redskins. Well, when the Redskins does it, it's a Ring of Fame.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a Ring of Fame?
Yeah, it's a Ring of Fame. That's what you do if you just put your people in. It's not really a Hall of Fame. It's just your people. So
Ring of your fame.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, he bought the rights. He owes it to these people. And I'd almost be curious that if the Freebirds were ever in Calgary, if they drew up there.
Eddie, what do you think about what Bret Hart said about the Freebirds?
Bret, you're an idiot.
Well, okay.
Well,
Thanks, Eddie.
let's put the world in proper perspective. And Bret Hart, I respect everything that you have done in WWF. I respect everything you've done in Calgary. But when they showed your video, when you got ready to go into the WWE Hall of Fame, they also showed some of your stuff from Stampede Wrestling. Well, lo and behold, you did remarkably well in Stampede, and you did remarkably well where your dad was the promoter. And then, of course, the integral agreement between Stu Hart and Vince McMahon, where you came over to the World Wrestling Federation. From that vantage point, the Freebirds did not have that luxury. The Freebirds, basically, the state of Tennessee and the Mid-South area, as well as National Wrestling Alliance in Chattanooga, Nashville, World Class Championship Wrestling, Mid-South Wrestling and the Universal Wrestling Federation, then the National Wrestling Alliance, as well as World Championship Wrestling. So that is more than just two areas in which the fabulous Freebirds, in one form or another, were top-tier talent, without the help of family, without the help of, I hate to use this, sorry, Mr. Roberts, buddies. The Freebirds basically built their reputation in different areas. Old school long-term wrestling fans, you can use that as a comma or a hyphenated phrase. I will say old school and long-time wrestling fans. Remember the story in the Superdome where the Freebirds blinded the Junkyard Dog. Hair cream incident. Look it up. Then you have scenarios of the Freebird Von Erich war. Well, granted, the Von Erich's dad ran the company, but by the same token, he didn't run the Freebirds. And then you also had Terry and Michael, who were, before Buddy Jack came along, the Freebirds on their own. Has Bret Hart ever released a record that is still talked about to this day? I don't think he's ever released an album with the song on it called My Face Got Kicked In by Goldberg or anything of that ilk. But yet the Freebirds put out Bad Street USA, a song that is still talked about to this day. So for as much as I respect Bret Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be is a great marketing slogan, and he is one of the top scientific and traditional competitors inside the squared circle of all time. He has no place to discuss or warrant the merit of the fabulous Freebirds because obviously he hasn't done his homework. Guys?
Yeah,
I agree.
When you talk about the Freebirds, you have to do it with equality and with fairness. I mean, yes, in WWF they did not draw. That's correct. They weren't there very long.
They didn't get pushed. They weren't given a prominent spot.
True, but at the same time, when they were there, and it was quite early in Bret's run, I would like to think that Bret's exposure to the Freebirds was probably as kayfabe as everything else that was happening around there.
But the other interesting thing about the Freebirds is they decided to get in, and they were 15 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
And Gordy was a world champion at 16.
Right.
They didn't stop from there. I mean, at 15 and 16 years old, they're winning world titles.
Michael was 18, Terry was 16.
Yeah, so there you are. So I'm off by a couple years on Michael, but Terry's 16, he's a world champ.
I mean, I just think that I get it. I get what he's saying.
And it's not his dad's company, too. He went out there and earned it.
But at the same time, with him saying what he was saying, in proper perspective for that, yes, he is correct. But outside of WWE, he wasn't. He's completely wrong because of everything that was happening with the Freebirds. If you think another three-man group would have been able to blow the roof off like they did with the Von Erichs.
But how much of a shot did they get in the WWE, too?
None.
Well, they really didn't, and that's what really bothers me. And Andre was, and I would venture a guess and say this is correct because Andre was the standard bearer there for so long. Andre the Giant's the one that got him fired, but they Bret Hart's story in this interview. He describes one night the Freebirds didn't make their match. They got to the arena late, and they were too drunk to perform. They didn't make their match. They got a shouting match with Andre the Giant. Andre said, "You guys are fired." They try to do what the Freebirds do, stand off with Andre and say, "No, we'll see who's going to be fired." And, of course, they got fired. But, I mean, this is the early stages of Vince Jr., and I imagine at that point he had nothing to lose by firing. And he had so many people that were wanting to come in their place. Again, the Freebirds at that point. And at this point, that would have been about 85, 86, just after the success of WrestleMania. Vince doesn't have anything to lose by cutting them loose. And the Freebirds continue to rise in prominence after that. So it's not like they suffered when they got released. I get what Bret Hart's saying, but I also think that what he forgets a lot of the times when he makes these kinds of off-the-cuff statements is that he's only speaking for about 20% of the entirety of their legacy. And that's giving them the benefit of the doubt at 20%.
Well, he's a company man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's a company man.
Always has been.
Right. So he's always going to, if you're not, kind of like when AJ first came in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God, I don't care what he did anywhere else.
Right.
He's not this caliber. He's not this caliber.
Yeah.
When in actuality, you might have, 3 or 4 world-class competitors in the WWE, and if you took the rest of them somewhere else, they would fall flat on their face.
WWE's roster at its best would have been about 2011, where you had CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Evan Bourne, just all of these different world-renowned wrestlers.
Right, that weren't created there.
Right. They made their name elsewhere. So when Bret says that, I think you're right. I think he says it from kind of a protected plateau. And I get that. He's got a right to his opinion. But we as fans have a right to retort, and that's what we do. And I hope that when he continues to do what he's doing with these interviews, that maybe he takes a minute and just stops and recognizes what has happened in the entirety of the career that he's describing, because it's just like when he talks about different matches where Triple H's match was with insert name here was a 4 out of 10 or whatever. When you make statements like that, it doesn't reek of knowledge, it reeks of bitterness. And I don't really think that's the kind of message that Bret Hart wants to convey.
Well, the other thing, too, is he might not know his history like he should. Maybe.
I mean, not to pick on the guy, but maybe he just doesn't. Maybe he doesn't remember. And I'm not trying to make fun. I'm being serious. We don't know what... I'm going to say this lightly, as gently as possible. We don't know what his mental capability is at this point comparatively with how it was before his stroke.
Right.
And it's not to say that he's forgotten it, but sometimes I wonder.
Well, I mean, it happens because if you look at Sting in an interview with JBL where they talk about the NWO and how Bischoff supposedly had a conversation with him about him being the third member, if Hogan says no, and Hogan, Sting's like, well, I don't remember that conversation, and everybody else and their mother remembers it,
I think when it comes to those kinds of conversations that Sting is still an old school guy that's just not going to let the curtain come back that far.
Speaking of Sting,
man called Sting.
You should go on to give him a shout out. Lynchburg?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So he's going to be in Hopewell, Virginia for Big Time Wrestling on November 6th, I believe, on a Saturday. Should be an exciting event. He's doing autograph signing. He's doing photo opportunities. And I don't know if he'll be taking part at all in the card at all. But as we get further details, of course, we will share. BT Wrestling, Big Time Wrestling, BTWrestling.com. Ricky Steamboat is planned on being there as well. And Gangrel will also be in attendance. Hey, we're coming up on our second break of the evening. It's time for The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. Title versus career.
And she winked at me.
Oh, and Maurice just winked at me. It's a good moment here in wrestling world.
Don't get me in trouble.
We'll be right back here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Stick with us here on Corner to Corner.